Have you ever felt that something inside you longs for change, but you're not exactly sure where to start? Maybe it's that persistent feeling that life could be more meaningful, more aligned with who you truly are. It can be challenging to find the right path when the world around us seems so chaotic and full of distractions. But here's a truth we often forget. Everything you're searching for is already here. It's not in some distant future or lost in the past. It's in the now, in this very moment. And when you begin to realize this, something incredible happens. The chains that keep you bound to worries, fears, and regrets start to loosen. You discover a space of freedom where you can create, transform, and live fully. This isn't an invitation to ignore life's challenges, but to face them from a place of strength and clarity. It's about learning to access the power of presence, finding wisdom in silence, and freeing yourself from what no longer serves you. This is the beginning of a transformation that goes far beyond appearances. It's a return to what is most authentic within you, ready to explore this journey of self-discovery and growth. Let's dive into this transformative reflection together. If you're prepared, take the first steps toward a more conscious and purposeful life, the power of now. The present is like an infinite field of possibilities, where every second carries the potential for transformation. It's in the present that life happens, far from the shadows of the past and the illusions of the future. When we allow ourselves to be fully in the now, we discover a dimension of peace that transcends the limits of the mind. This moment is the only one that truly exists, and within it lies the key to accessing our deepest essence. When we think about the past, we often encounter regrets, hurts, or happy memories that are no longer within reach. On the other hand, the future appears as a blank canvas where we project fears and hopes. But neither of these dimensions is real. They are creations of the mind that pull us away from what truly matters. The life pulsing in this instant, the mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be a maze. It creates stories that reinforce our insecurities and anxieties, often trapping us in cycles of suffering. The key to escaping these traps lies in the practice of conscious presence. Observing our thoughts without judgment allows us to recognize that we are much more than what we think or feel. The practice of presence invites us to let go of judgment. Imagine yourself as a calm observer, watching your thoughts pass like clouds in the sky. As you realize that these thoughts do not define who you are, an inner freedom begins to emerge. You come to see that your true essence is unchanging, a solid foundation amidst life's turbulence. By embracing the now, we discover that everything we seek is already within us. We don't need to chase something external to feel complete. Happiness, peace, and love are not out there. They are states that emerge when we connect deeply with the present. This realization can be simple, but it is profoundly transformative. Breathing is a bridge to this connection. When you focus on the rhythm of air entering and leaving your lungs, your mind calms and your attention returns to the now. Try pausing for a few minutes, closing your eyes, and breathing consciously. Notice how the present moment comes alive, full of details that previously went unnoticed. The now also teaches us about acceptance. Often, we resist life's circumstances, wishing things were different. But true freedom arises when we stop fighting what is and accept reality as it presents itself. This doesn't mean resignation, but rather an openness to deal with situations more lightly and creatively. Acceptance of the present moment also helps us face challenging emotions. Instead of suppressing or identifying with them, we can simply allow them to be as they are. When we welcome our emotions with compassion, they lose the power to control us. From there, we can respond to life with greater balance and wisdom. The practice of now also impacts our relationships. When we are present with others, we offer the best of ourselves. We listen attentively, speak with intention, and connect genuinely. This state of presence transforms how we relate, creating deeper and more authentic bonds. In work, family life, or moments of solitude, The now gives us the opportunity to start fresh at every moment. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday or what may come tomorrow. The present is where we can make conscious choices that reflect our deepest values and desires. Every decision made in the now shapes the future we want to live. At times, we may get lost in thoughts or be swept away by the distractions of daily life. But every time we return to the now, we strengthen our connection with life. It's a path of self-discovery that requires no effort, only the willingness to be here and now, the essence of the mind and its role in consciousness. The mind, with its incredible capacity for creation and reasoning, is one of the most fascinating tools we possess. However, it can also act as a master illusionist, crafting scenarios and narratives that distance us from our true essence. Understanding the mind and its role is fundamental to living fully and consciously. We are often caught up in recurring thoughts, many of which we didn't consciously choose. These are echoes of the past or projections of the future that capture our attention and pull us away from the present. The mind has a unique ability to turn experiences into stories, but these stories don't always reflect reality. When we completely identify with our thoughts, we forget that we are more than the mind. We are the consciousness that observes these thoughts, the space where they arise and dissolve. Recognizing this distinction is liberating because it allows us to see the mind as a tool rather than the essence of who we are. The mind is also deeply influenced by emotions, which act as fuel for thoughts. When an intense emotion arises, it can dominate our perception, dragging us into cycles of worry or regret. Observing the interplay between thoughts and emotions is an essential step toward regaining our inner balance. The practice of observing the mind doesn't require excessive effort. On the contrary, it is a natural process of gentle attention. Instead of fighting unwanted thoughts or trying to control them, simply allow them to be there. Look at them as a curious spectator, free of judgment. This practice reveals that thoughts are like waves in the ocean. They rise, peak, and fade away. But you are not the wave, you are the ocean itself, vast and unchanging. This understanding transforms how we deal with life's challenges, bringing a sense of calm even in moments of adversity. The mind often tries to solve problems that don't yet exist. This habit of anticipating difficulties is a protective mechanism, but can create unnecessary anxiety. Learning to trust the present moment and our ability to handle whatever comes is a powerful way to reduce suffering. On the other hand, the mind can be an extraordinary ally when used consciously. Its ability to plan, imagine, and solve problems is invaluable. The secret lies in knowing when to engage the mind and when to rest in presence. This balance makes us more creative and effective in everything we do. It's important to remember that the mind is not our enemy. It is a valuable part of who we are, but should not be the center of our identity. When we treat it with respect and discernment, we can enjoy its benefits without being dominated by its limitations. Curiosity is a powerful tool for exploring the mind. Instead of resisting or avoiding certain thoughts, ask yourself, where does this come from? What can I learn from it? This approach opens the door to insights, transforming even the most challenging moments into opportunities for growth. Over time, we begin to realize that we don't need to resolve every thought or understand every nuance of the mind. Sometimes it's enough to be present and allow the answers to arise naturally. This trust in our inner wisdom connects us to something greater than ourselves. The relationship with the mind transformed. As we become more conscious, our relationship with the mind shifts. It ceases to be a source of confusion and suffering and transforms into an instrument of clarity and purpose. It is within this transformation that we discover a new level of freedom, connecting with true essence. The true essence of who we are cannot be found in the stories the mind tells. It exists beyond the definitions, labels, and concepts we use to describe ourselves. It's like trying to catch the wind with your hands. It cannot be contained, but can only be directly experienced. This essence is silent, yet its presence is unmistakable. It is the force that animates us, the deep sense of I am, that does not depend on any external circumstance. It is unaffected by the changes of life, remaining constant even amidst impermanence. Recognizing this essence feels like finding a home after years of searching. It's a sense of completeness that doesn't rely on external validation. When connected to it, we feel a peace that cannot be shaken by difficulties or challenges. The disconnection from our essence happens when we identify solely with the ego, the idea of who we believe we are. The ego is formed by beliefs, fears, expectations, and stories accumulated over a lifetime. While useful in some aspects, it doesn't reflect the fullness of who we are. A practical way to access our essence is through silence. Not external silence, but internal stillness, where we disconnect from the incessant noise of thoughts. This state of quietness reveals a depth that transcends words. Nature also offers us a bridge to this connection. Being in the presence of the vastness of the sky, the tranquility of a forest, or the flow of a river reminds us of our unchanging nature. These moments awaken something in us that goes beyond what the mind can explain. When we touch this essence, we realize that many of the things we worry about are superficial. The opinions of others, material achievements, even failures, become less significant. What matters is the inner state of presence and authenticity. This state doesn't need to be achieved. It is already present. What we need is simply to shed the layers of conditioning that obscure our vision. This is a practice of letting go, not in avoidance or denial, but in releasing what no longer serves us. True essence is also deeply connected to love, not conditional or romantic love, but universal love, an energy that sustains all that exists. When we connect with this energy, we feel a natural compassion for ourselves and others. This connection transforms how we live. Actions are no longer motivated by fear or the need for approval, but become expressions of our authenticity. Every choice reflects who we are, not who we think we should be. Though the external world may remain chaotic, finding this essence allows us to live with stability. We become like a mountain, unshaken even when the winds of life try to topple us. This inner strength guides us through difficult times. Being in touch with essence is like rediscovering a forgotten melody. It feels familiar, yet new at the same time. It is the part of us that has always been there, waiting to be recognized. Nothing is more natural than living in alignment with it. Transformation through presence. Personal transformation doesn't happen in the future or in some idealized moment. It happens exactly where we are now. When we live in presence, we open the door to profound changes in our perceptions, choices, and actions. Presence is a catalyst that allows us to see life with new eyes. This state of presence requires no effort. It is like breathing, something that is already available to us, even though we often ignore it. The challenge lies in remembering to return to the present moment, especially when pulled by the chaos of daily life. By living in the now, we begin to notice the beauty in simple things: a smile, the sound of the wind, the taste of a meal. Each moment becomes a gift, an opportunity to experience something unique. This attention transforms even routine tasks into meaningful experiences. Presence also brings clarity. When we are fully here, we can observe situations and make decisions more consciously. The mind, free from the weight of past regrets or future worries, works more efficiently. This allows us to tackle challenges with creativity and calmness. This state has a direct impact on our relationships. When we are present with someone, we offer our complete attention. This strengthens bonds, eliminates misunderstandings, and creates a space of mutual respect. Connections become more authentic and profound. The practice of presence also helps us navigate challenging emotions. Instead of being overwhelmed by them, we can observe them with curiosity. We realize that emotions are like waves, temporary by nature. This gives us the freedom to experience them without being consumed by them. Transformation through presence doesn't mean avoiding pain or discomfort. On the contrary, it invites us to be fully with these experiences, recognizing that they are part of life. This acceptance brings unexpected relief because we release the resistance that creates additional suffering. In presence, we also find the strength to change what needs to be changed. When we are aware of what is happening within and around us, we can act with purpose. We no longer feel like victims of circumstances, but as active participants in life. The simplicity of the practice is one of its greatest gifts. We don't need complex tools or elaborate rituals. It's enough to pay attention to the breath, bodily sensations, or what we see and hear in the moment. This simplicity makes presence accessible to everyone. Over time, this practice transforms our relationship with the world. We begin to value the experience more than the outcome. Life stops being a race toward a goal and becomes a dance where every step has its worth. This approach also teaches us compassion. When we live with attention, we recognize the shared humanity in others. We see that everyone is fighting their own battles, awakening in us a genuine desire to help. Transformation through presence is ongoing, but every small step brings us closer to a more authentic and meaningful life. There is no final destination to reach, only infinite opportunities to be and grow with each moment we choose to be here. Integrating consciousness into daily life means bringing the practice of mindfulness to every aspect of living. It is not reserved for moments of meditation or deep reflection. It is a way of being that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. When we are conscious, every action becomes an expression of presence. Routine activities are a perfect starting point for this integration. Washing dishes, for example, can become an opportunity to feel the water's temperature, observe the movement of your hands, and hear the sound of running water. These small perceptions anchor us in the present moment, making even the simplest tasks meaningful. Oddity work. Mindfulness helps us focus better and handle challenges more calmly. By concentrating on one task at a time, our productivity increases and stress decreases. Additionally, presence allows us to notice opportunities that might have previously gone unnoticed. Mindful eating is another area where this practice can create transformation. Instead of eating automatically, we can pay attention to the colors, textures, and flavors of our food. This not only improves our relationship with eating, but also promotes healthier digestion and a deeper connection with the act of nourishing our bodies. Connecting with others also benefits greatly from integrating mindfulness. When we listen to someone with full attention, we not only understand better what is being said, but also demonstrate respect and empathy. This strengthens our bonds and fosters an atmosphere of trust. Technology, often a source of distraction, can also be used to cultivate presence. Setting boundaries for device use, such as specific times for checking emails or social media, helps reduce feelings of overwhelm. Using technology consciously allows us to enjoy it without being controlled by it. Physical movement, like walking, can also become a mindfulness practice. Feeling the weight of the body, the contact of the feet with the ground, and the rhythm of the breath while walking connects us to the present moment. Even a short walk can bring a renewed sense of balance and clarity. Rest and relaxation are also opportunities to integrate mindfulness. Instead of becoming lost in thoughts or distractions, we can focus on how the body feels while resting. This type of attention transforms rest into something deeply restorative. Mindfulness in daily life helps us manage unexpected situations more effectively. When we are present, we become less reactive and better able to respond with clarity. This gives us a sense of control over our choices, even in challenging moments. This practice also reminds us of the importance of slowing down. In a world that values speed, presence teaches us to appreciate calmness. By slowing down, we notice more details and find joy in simple things that might have previously gone unnoticed. Over time, integrating mindfulness into everyday life stops being something we do and becomes part of who we are. It becomes a state of being that accompanies us in all areas of life, aligning us more closely with our essence and the world around us. The wisdom of inner silence. Inner silence is more than the absence of external noise. It is a state of deep peace that arises when we disconnect from the incessant turmoil of thoughts. This silence is the source of true wisdom and clarity. It doesn't need to be created because it already exists within us, waiting to be rediscovered. We are often bombarded by internal voices that analyze, plan, or judge. This inner dialogue is so constant that we forget what it's like to be silent. However, when we cultivate moments of stillness, we begin to hear a deeper and more authentic voice that transcends the limitations of the mind. Silence doesn't require isolation. It can be found even in the busiest places if we learn to anchor ourselves in presence. Sitting in silence for a few minutes throughout the day is a powerful act of self-care. It's like giving the mind a moment to breathe and reorganize. This practice doesn't need to be long or complex. Simply closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and observing the natural flow of thoughts without engaging with them is enough. Gradually, the mental noise subsides and calmness begins to emerge, like still waters after a storm. Inner silence connects us with a source of creativity, often overshadowed by overstimulation. Great ideas frequently arise in states of stillness, where the mind is free to explore and create without the constraints of excessive rational thought. It is also an antidote to stress. When we pause to listen to silence, the body and mind relax. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, and the nervous system returns to balance. It's like pressing a reset button on a busy day. Moreover, inner silence allows us to listen to others more effectively. Free from our own mental chatter, we become more attuned to the words and emotions of those around us. This enhances relationships and fosters more empathetic and genuine communication. This state also equips us to face challenges with greater wisdom. When difficult situations arise, our immediate reaction often stems from fear or judgment. In silence, we can observe our impulses and respond more consciously and thoughtfully. Cultivating inner silence is also an act of reconnecting with our true self. It reminds us that we are more than our stories, fears, or desires. In this tranquil space, we find a sense of belonging to the greater whole that surrounds us. Silence, however, doesn't mean apathy or isolation. It is a fertile space for transformation, where we prepare to act with greater intentionality and alignment. It becomes the starting point for decisions that resonate with our essence. When we integrate silence into our lives, it becomes a stable foundation that sustains our actions and choices. It doesn't eliminate challenges, but provides the strength and clarity to face them. Above all, it reminds us that true peace is always within our reach. The power of detachment. Detachment is an act of inner freedom that allows us to live more lightly and authentically. Often mistaken for indifference, true detachment is actually a profound way of engaging with life without clinging to outcomes or possessions. It doesn't mean giving up what we love, but releasing the need to control what's beyond our hands. In our culture, we are encouraged to accumulate possessions, experiences, even relationships. This attachment creates an illusory sense of security and permanence. Yet, everything in life is transitory. Recognizing this is not pessimistic. It opens us to accepting change with greater serenity. Detachment begins with recognizing what we're holding on to so tightly. It might be an idea of how life should be, a job that no longer serves us, or even past resentments. Identifying these TIs is the first step toward liberating ourselves from them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. On the contrary, it allows life to flow naturally. When we stop trying to control everything We create space for new possibilities that often exceed what we could have imagined. This practice also helps us cope with loss. Nothing in life is permanent, and learning to accept this gracefully prepares us to navigate life's ups and downs with more balance. Detachment teaches us to value the present moment, knowing it is unique and fleeting. In relationships, detachment can be particularly powerful. It doesn't mean loving less, but loving more freely. Allowing people to be who they are, without trying to mold them to our expectations, strengthens bonds and fosters more genuine connections. Detachment also applies to our thoughts and emotions. We don't have to identify with every idea or feeling that arises. Observing these states as passing clouds brings clarity and perspective, freeing us from the weight of constantly carrying them. A practical way to cultivate detachment is by reflecting on what truly matters. When we prioritize our core values and goals, we often realize that many of the things we cling to lack the significance we imagined. This reflection helps us redirect our energy toward what genuinely nourishes us. Detachment also invites us to trust the flow of life. When we release rigid expectations, we become more receptive to surprises and opportunities. This trust gives us the courage to take risks and explore new directions. It also frees us from comparison. We often attach ourselves to notions of success or happiness based on what we see in others. Detachment helps us look inward and find our own definition of fulfillment, independent of external standards. Letting go is not a one-time event. It's a continuous practice that requires patience and self-compassion. Each small step toward detachment brings us closer to a fuller, more authentic life. The practice of conscious gratitude. Gratitude is more than a fleeting emotion. It is an intentional practice that transforms how we perceive life. By developing the habit of recognizing the positive in our lives, we shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Gratitude connects us with the present moment and reinforces a sense of wholeness. In a world where we're constantly encouraged to seek more, it's easy to overlook what we already have. Gratitude reminds us that even amid challenges, there are reasons to celebrate and give thanks. This recognition not only brings joy, but also strengthens our emotional resilience. The practice begins with small observations: the warmth of the morning sun, a friend's kindness, or the simple comfort of a safe home. These moments, often dismissed as trivial, take on new meaning when we consciously acknowledge them. Gratitude also helps us navigate difficult times. In challenging situations, finding something to be grateful for provides perspective. This doesn't mean ignoring pain, but balancing it with a recognition of the strengths and support systems we have. Keeping a gratitude journal is a powerful way to solidify this practice. Spending a few minutes each day listing 3 things we're grateful for trains the mind to seek out the positive. Over time, this mindset of appreciation becomes second nature. In relationships, gratitude has the power to transform dynamics. Acknowledging and expressing appreciation for others' actions or qualities fosters stronger, more harmonious connections. Even small words of thanks can have a profound impact. This practice also benefits our physical health. Studies show that people who regularly cultivate gratitude experience lower stress levels, better sleep, and overall improved well-being. Connection between mind and body makes gratitude a natural remedy. Gratitude also teaches us acceptance. By acknowledging what is present in our lives, even if it's not perfect, we learn to value what we have without constantly longing for what's missing. This isn't complacency, but an appreciation of the present moment. Conscious gratitude inspires generosity. When we feel grateful, we're naturally inclined to share that abundance with others. Generosity creates a positive cycle where giving amplifies our own sense of fulfillment. It's essential to remember that gratitude is a practice, not a permanent state. Some days, it will be harder to find something to appreciate. In those moments, even the smallest acknowledgments, like being thankful for the air we breathe, can make a difference. Over time, gratitude becomes an anchor, a constant to return to in any circumstance. It reminds us that life, with all its ups and downs, is a gift. By cultivating this sense of appreciation, we create an inner space of peace and contentment. The art of starting anew. Starting anew is one of the most powerful skills we can develop. Often associated with major external changes, true renewal happens within. It's the conscious decision to let go of the past and open ourselves to what lies ahead, free from yesterday's limitations. Every new day brings the opportunity to start fresh, but we don't always realize it. We're so conditioned by past mistakes or fear of the unknown that we forget we can choose anew at any moment. Starting over is not weakness. It is courage. The first step to an authentic restart is forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves for past mistakes and others for the pain they've caused is liberating. This doesn't mean justifying or forgetting, but releasing the emotional weight that ties us to the past. Forgiveness is an act of self-care that prepares us to move forward. Renewal also requires acceptance. Recognizing where we are with all its challenges and imperfections is the starting point. We cannot change what we don't face. Accepting the present moment as it is provides a foundation for building something new. The art of starting anew is closely linked to resilience. Each time we face a difficulty, we have the chance to grow stronger. Instead of viewing failures as endings, we can see them as lessons that guide us toward growth. New beginnings don't always have to be dramatic. Small steps like adopting a new habit or shifting how we think about a situation can have a significant impact over time. These gradual changes create a cumulative effect that transforms our lives. The practice of self-awareness is essential in this process. Knowing what we want to leave behind and what we wish to build gives us clarity. Introspection through meditation, journaling, or meaningful conversations helps align our new beginnings with our deepest values. Renewal also requires patience. We often want immediate results, but true change takes time. It's important to be kind to ourselves throughout the process and celebrate every small victory along the way. The support of loved ones can make a world of difference. Sharing our intentions with friends or mentors creates a network of encouragement. These connections inspire us and help us stay focused during challenging times. Fear of failure is a common obstacle to starting anew. However, it's important to remember that failure is part of growth. Each attempt that doesn't work brings us closer to success, as long as we're willing to learn and try again. Starting anew is also a way of honoring who we are. By giving ourselves the chance to begin again, we acknowledge our worth and capacity for growth. This act of self-love boosts our self-esteem and connects us to our inner strength. Life is made of cycles, and every ending is also a beginning. Embracing this truth helps us flow with life's inevitable changes. Starting over is not just a necessity. It's an art that keeps us aligned with our highest potential. Life constantly invites us to reinvent ourselves, to live more present and authentic lives. Every moment is an opportunity to create something new, connect with our essence, and transform how we see the world. You already have everything you need within. Just take the first step. If this content resonated with you or brought new perspectives, share your thoughts in the comments. Your insights might inspire others to take their own steps toward transformation. And if this message made sense to you, subscribe to the channel to receive more content that helps you live with greater presence, clarity, and purpose.